All right. All right, guys. Can you guys see me and hear me? Sorry about that. There was a delay. There's a delay. I forget there's a delay. Why is this looking crazy? Like last week? No, that's too light. Oh no. Like last week this looked so good. Now this looks rushed out. No. Like, last week it looked so good. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Like right here, the glow. Hey, Taylor. Why does this not look? Sorry. I don't know. Taylor, you see me? Can you hear me? I'm back. Wow. This is this looks so good last week. Like, what did I do differently? Things new. No, this looks so good last week. All right. Oh, hey, Jenny. Welcome back. What's up? What's up? I don't know what's going on with my lighting. It looked so good last week. Now it's like something new. What's going on? What's going on? All right, I'll live. That'll work. Hello, Taylor. Thank you guys for joining. Hey, how are you guys doing? Can you guys see me okay? Can you hear me? Okay, good. Good. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing differently in terms of my lighting, but it looks so good yesterday and last week, and now it looks crazy. What am I doing differently? I don't know. So what's going on, ladies? Huh? Y'all ready to get into these Karens? Because honestly, I think there are lessons to be learned from these crazy heifers. I really do. before we get on. Cindy, what's been going on? Yeah. Because it's like, here we go, Amy, this is central part here. Yeah. Because, you know, in some aspects, I mean, obviously these women are racist, and it's just messed up that, you know, it's still in 2021, Black people are treated this way. Isn't, you guys think about that? Isn't it crazy that in 2021, we are still treated like this? But isn't that crazy, guys? Oh, I don't know. Okay, great. And the saddest part, you guys, is that it's like we are guilty before proven. And, you know, that's the thing about it. Like, we have somebody, a Karen calls us, you know, somebody, you know, all they have to do is act a fool. And it's like, I mean, for me personally, I would be like, oh crap. That's why we have, thank God for cell phones, and we have to, you know, recording these things. Although sometimes even that's not enough. It's just scary that, exactly. And it's scary that someone has that sort of power over you, and they know it, you know, and they know it. They know that they have that sort of power. They know that if they, you know, clown and cry and act an ass, you know, that they have there's power in that for them. Yeah, it's like they can weaponize their tears. It's crazy. Yeah, exactly. Actually, even though. Hi, Brenda. Welcome, Brenda. But it's just, it's scary when someone can like just weaponize that, you know, and it's like crazy. And it's like these are common occurrences, not just, I'm going to go ahead and read some of these things once we get a couple people on here. I mean, because this is the type of stuff that happens like in the workplace. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it's just, this is reality. Hello, I'm gonna wait a couple minutes just to see. Because I want to go over, you know, we've seen the incident on television, but I want to go over, and I found just sort of comments and from everyday, ordinary people, women in particular. Well, I shouldn't say women, just everyday people who have had these experiences. And I think that there's an aspect of it that is not. Hey there, Dwa Consulting. Hi there. Thank you for joining. Just wait a minute, because we were talking about obviously how, you know, how these Karens weaponize their tears. Oh, girl, shaking on the ground, and it's like the man didn't do anything. That's the scary part. And people were running to her aid, and he didn't do anything. It's like guilty until proven innocent. Thank God he had that camera. Thank God he could record the video. But I feel as if there should be like a Caring Registry at this point, you know? Because, you know, they're just doing too much, and it's scary. It's not just a nuisance. It's not something to just be irritated or amused by. Like this, and like people could die as a result of this, of these actions, you know? It's a serious thing. And the crazy thing is like it's always been this way, but now we are seeing it. You know, we have the ability to see it. Yeah, there needs to be a registry. But I do think it like just like on a deeper level, like how does this happen? Like you're a young girl growing up, and how do you like cry on a dime? How do you know, how do you learn that this is something that you can weaponize and that you can get your way via, you know, crying? How do you learn that? And a lot of it, I don't think, I mean, obviously there's some element of racism, a lot of element of racism, but I think when that is learned behavior. And I think that, you know, if you think about it, it's possible because I know I've had, you know, white friends, and I have white friends, and they grew up in households where they are, you know, they were criticized a lot. That's what I like. Nothing they did a lot of times was good enough. And you know, just a couple, you know, they felt ignored, or you know, they could not speak out or get angry, and the only way to get positive attention was to cry. That always brought someone over to soothe you and all of that. Yeah, it's definitely learned. Wow, because she was a puppet, she kept saying she was having another breakdown. It was supposed to take her away to the hospital. Oh my gosh! Speaking of mental breakdown, did you guys see the one a few months ago where the black man was at the hotel and he just came down and asked for more towels, whatever, and the clerk there just had a total meltdown. Now I believe, like, I think he was schizophrenic or bipolar or something like that, but thank God this was being recorded, video recorded, because it's, oh yes, yes, that's where I got it from, Funky Dineva. Absolutely, got to give credit where credit's due. He said that 100%, and he's right. Absolutely, and he's right, 100%. And it's just frightening. But you guys, this video is not just about that. I mean, because we all know what it is. This video, I think, is, I want to look at this from a different perspective, you know, and a perspective that basically they do it, why don't we? Really think about that. I know I've done it and it works. These women do it because it works. I've gotten out of traffic tickets. I'm telling you, it works. I got upgraded on a plane. I get extra chicken at Popeyes. I mean, it works. And I don't mean like crying and all of that stuff. I mean the vulnerability, the acting like the damsel in distress. That is what works. It's just being vulnerable. And it's something like, as women of color, Black women in particular, we, first of all, we are not seen as women who are, we're strong Black women. And so we are not seen oftentimes as vulnerable, as weak, as damsels in distress. The understanding is that, hey, you guys can take care of yourself. You don't need a man, you don't need anything, and that we don't get that sympathy, right? People are not as sympathetic to us when it comes to, I mean, even if we were in that situation, I don't think the reaction would be as sympathetic to us. Or would it? Or would it? Although the scenario would have been very different. What do you guys think? Have you guys ever done something like that? Played the damsel in distress and cried and all of that stuff? Have you? Okay, let me tell you about one time. Let me tell you one time. Okay, so I was driving to work and speed limit was like 45. And I was like jammed to my radio listening, and I was going 60, which I realized when the cop pulled me over. And so, he's just like, do you realize you were going 60 in a 45? I'm like, no. He said, well, you're just like listening to the radio, whatever. I'm like, yeah. And he said, well, you're 15 miles over the speed limit. I could take you to jail for that. And I was like, me? I swear, this is what I did. I said, me? Jail? And I was like, me? And he said, just calm down, ma'am. I just started getting really upset. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. He said, well, let me have you see your license and registration. So I gave him my license and registration. And another thing I'd say, I was looking good. I was on my way to work. Of course, I was looking good. And he checked myself. I mean, obviously I didn't have anything wrong, and have any tickets or anything like that. And when he came back, I was like in tears, you know, and he was like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. It's okay. Of course, I'm not going to take you to jail. I just wanted to let you know, like, to slow down and everything. But, you know, I have to give you a ticket. I can't not give you a ticket. I'm like, I mean, what can you, he said, tell you what, I'll give you a ticket for, like, you have to go to Saturday, just a driver, you know, the driver school. You go there, you know, you spend, it's like a 4-hour, 6-hour class, you complete it, and then this won't even be on your record. He's like, how's that? I'm like, that's fine. Thank you so much. This actually happened. I mean, I'm telling you, it works. It works. It totally works. Yeah, it does, especially around men. And that's the thing with, like, women of color, Black women, we don't even think along those lines. So many of us get, let's tell it like it is, get aggressive, you know, get kind of ignorant. Even if it doesn't go that far, there's no charm. I mean, there's almost like this, well, the angry Black woman stereotype, right? And a lot of us fall into that. We don't play the damsel. We don't soften. We don't come off as soft, because let's be honest, a lot of us are not soft. And you know, one thing I'm like, well, a lot of it, you know, they say Black women, you know, this doesn't work for us. Well, how do you know if you don't do it? Seriously. It works, like I said, around women. I mean, think about it as women. You know, we've gone to the women's liberation and feminist movement, but why was that necessary? Because men always saw us as, you know, the weaker sex. And when there was like a situation at work, what would they say? Oh, I don't want you to cry. She might get upset and cry. So, and that's right. That was always sort of the knock on us. Oh, they're gonna, you know, she's gonna get upset and cry. You know, that's where one of the reasons this whole feminist movement came around. We were sort of looked upon as like the weaker sex. There was not as much required of us because we couldn't do as much as women. We were kind of in our lane. The things expected of men were not expected of us as women, because we didn't have the strength. A lot of us didn't have they thought the intelligence. We were too soft. Basically, we couldn't hang, you know? But if you think about that, really, if you think about that, seeing women as the weaker sex is, I mean, kind of natural, right, for men. It's just, that's the way it's always been, if you think about it. Women, I think, if you really think about it, we have always been seen as the damsels in distress. It's just some of us don't act like it. And this is an aspect of femininity. So many of us are not feminine. And that's a very feminine way to act. Now, I'm not saying these parents and all of that, but I'm just saying, just in general, playing the damsel in distress, the crying, the vulnerability, the somebody help me. And I don't mean like in a way that harms somebody else, like the way they're doing. I don't mean to weaponize it because that's disgusting, but I do mean it in the sense that being a feminine woman who uses, her feminine wiles. That's ultimately what I meant about this video. When I say they do it, why don't we? For some of us, it just never crosses our mind. What do you guys think? And if you think about it, it's a man's sort of natural reaction to want to rescue a woman. A masculine man, here's a feminine woman who is acting feminine, is crying, is just a very feminine, very woman thing to do. Men don't cry like that in public. I mean, there are differences between the sex, and this is one of them. This is one of them. And so this sort of thing is almost expected of women. But Black women don't take advantage of it because we don't expect that of ourselves. What do you guys think? I want to know some feedback. And it works. That's the thing. It works. Ladies, it works. Like you said, particularly around men, it works. It works. So I think a lot of Black women will be better served to not, react to situations in a defensive manner, aggressive manner, and I'm going to go toe to toe with you type of manner. I really do. I think a lot of us don't understand that. How powerful, your femininity is, right? Dwelling in your femininity and using your femininity is powerful. It really is. And ultimately, these women, these Karen, they're horrible, they're racist, and it's terrible, but they are using their femininity and the characteristics associated with women. This is what women do. Like, you want to never see a guy cry. I mean, unless it was like that both bipolar guy. If that was a man crying on the floor, people would thought a man would think he was crazy. You guys, let's hear some feedback. I'm going to know some feedback from you guys. What do you think? Because I've done this, honey, I won't hesitate to do this if need be, and it works. It's just a mindset we need to change. It's just like the crying is something that is learned, the not crying and the having to be strong and not even considering ourselves, like not considering our femininity or even in tune with it and the benefits of that is learned. And being single parents who are trying to make ends meet. And in our masculine roles, having to assume both the female and male role, the masculine and feminine roles within the household. The struggle, and it's a mindset that needs to change. That's what you're saying. I don't see anybody saying it. And I don't mean it in a way that hurts other people. And even if you're in a situation like with another woman, and it's like, I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to do it, like, and she's being the aggressor, I would do that too. I would be like, oh my God, if there was somebody else around, it's just like, it's an option. And I don't think Black women explore that as an option. I just feel like Black women, if we do the volunteer thing, we also have to look the part. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. You have to look the part. But regardless, you got to do it. But I agree, you can't, and I don't mean to be unkind to anybody, but this is much more effective when you looking like I was looking when I was going to work, than if I had a bonnet on my head. You know what I mean? Would I have been treated the same? Maybe, but maybe not. I think it definitely helps. And this is reality, y'all. Life is not fair. It's not fair. So you have to make the most of what you have. Having a softer voice, eye contact, the fluttering of the eyes. I'm telling you, I actually said, me? Going to gym, me? And he's like, it's okay, calm down. That's exactly what I did. Like, I'm like, somebody like me could never go to jail. Like, not me. I swear to you guys, that's exactly what I did. No shame in the game, baby. And it worked. I'm too good to go to jail. Like I'm not the type of person that goes to jail. In fact, I think I might have said that to him. I think I said that to him. I think I said that to him. Like, I'm not the type of person who goes to jail. I've never been anything like I was like, I'm proud of myself. And that's not the first time, you guys, but this is the example that comes to mind. I feel like women do the only way they I agree. I agree about looking the part though. And that's just the reality of the situation. You were out in your bonnet and slippers and what was it? Oh, girl said, and your house coat, whatever. I don't think this is nearly as effective, particularly for Black women, because the standard is higher for us, and that's what it is, and that's okay. But my thing is, I was watching like when they do it. Why don't we do this? Why don't we ever see Black women playing the damsel in distress and crying? And and not necessarily in a way that would be captured on camera. It's like getting an edge on someone, like doing that to, like, if you're a person, if you're like, let's say you're in a situation with a white woman, does get her before she gets you. You bust out into tears before she does, and flip the script. And you guys know I date interracially. You guys know I date white men, and that it works with them too. If you tear up about something, believe me, you get your way. Now, Black men, I don't know if that's the thing with them. I really don't. I don't date Black men, but I don't think it's as effective because of how they see women. It's not the same. They don't have the same respect for women as other races do. And I hate to say it, but it's the truth. So while white man or Hispanic man would tell you, okay, don't cry, okay, let's do this, whatever. I don't mean to upset you. A Black man would tell you, girl, what you crying for? Shut up. And not all of them are crying. Or not care. Because again, the mentality is different a lot of times. It just is. they are raised differently. That's just a fact. There is a difference. And that is the truth. That is 100% the truth. And if anyone has had that experience of dating the other races, you know that. I don't think that's the favorite. Oh, absolutely. That's true. And that's why I say you got to get in where you fit in. You don't stop playing. Stop beating your head against the brick wall. Expand your horizon. You're right. That is something like that would not be, and it depends on the black man. I don't want to say all, but most I would say it would not be effective. Because they don't have this sort of reverence for women. They don't have that sort of masculine feminine dynamic where they know that as a man that they have a certain type of role in society and women have a certain type of role. Not that they disrespect women or don't respect women, but they understand that it is a man's sort of role to comfort a woman when she's upset, provide and protect. Think about it. Protect. And that is very natural for a white man. This is a person who was married to a white man. This is a person who this is coming from somebody who has had that experience. Yeah, and it's so sad. It's so sad how they are hurting towards Black women. They are. And so you can't play the damsel in distress card necessarily with Black men. You can't play the vulnerability card, because I think a lot of times they expect us to be hardcore and combative and loud and aggressive and you do something to me, I'm gonna get mad about it, and address the situation, respond to the situation with anger, not with softness. And it's funny that I wonder, like, if more Black women did that, who knows? It might even work on them, but they're just not accustomed to seeing it. No one is accustomed to seeing it. Why? Because we don't do it. And I'm like, why not? I do it, and I have no qualms about letting you know. Why? Because it works. We say, oh, Black women are seen as aggressive, ghetto, or women who don't need help, all of that. But why are we seen that way? I'm seeing my man, they have so tender to now. Yeah. But you know what Cynthia G says, in the end, they get the same Black man that we get. And she's right about that. But you guys, it goes back to femininity and being a feminine woman. And that is one of the characteristics of a feminine woman, the woman who can be vulnerable, the woman who's not afraid to ask for help. It's basically help me. You would be amazed at what you get if you have the balls to ask for it. You really would. And there's a softness. You can say whatever you want to say about the Karens, and they're disgusting and racist, but there's when somebody breaks down and cries, like, your natural inclination is to be like, oh, what's wrong? I mean, that garners attention. It gets your attention, like, oh, she's crying, what's wrong? Even a kid, it's like, what's wrong, right? I had to learn that on my own. Yeah, I get it. You had to learn that on your own. But see, my mom was feminine, of course, but it's because, I mean, that's just how she, my mom's from Alabama, didn't know anything. She moved to LA to go to school for like nursing. She met my dad, who was 20 years older. And so my dad was very much the caretaker of the home. So it was, since he was so much older than her, it was, the roles were very defined in my household. Like we dressed, I mean, like we didn't really, I tell you, I never wore a pair of jeans until I was in high school. Never. No, we wore like nice slacks, but we wore dresses, which is why I love dresses to this day. Hair done, everything. My dad and my mom's like that too. We were feminine. We were expected girls to look like girls. We never walked around with our hair not done or anything like that. I mean, my mom was not having that, but my dad wouldn't either. The expectation is that we're girls, gotta look like girls and act like girls. And that's how it was. So it wasn't like, I mean, my mom, of course, led by example, but it was just natural. And some of it, I admit, was a little sexist because, that my dad was old school traditional. And it's the same thing with my mother. My mother was not expected to work. She was not expected to pay bills, nothing. My mother worked and she was what? And we went to like high school, junior high school, I think it was. And I think I said this before, my dad didn't want her to do that. And even then, when she got her money, when she had her little money coming in, the only thing she bought was groceries. That's all she did. And really, she didn't have to do that. But she's like, okay, go ahead, Shirley. My mom's name is Shirley. She bought groceries. She didn't pay bills at first. Nothing. Not mortgage, not electric, paid nothing. My mother paid no bills. My father did all of that. And all she did once she started working was buy groceries. And that's the type of household I grew up in. And also being, playing tennis and being around a lot of white people. Straight up. I mean, and I saw and I learned about like being able to accept things without expecting anything in return or giving anything in return. It really is amazing. It really is, once you see it up close and personal, how you can be catered to and and wines and dine and everything. And you're just like, oh, thank you. It's a like, and I feel like it's entitlement and expectation. And if you're with a certain man, they know it's an expectation of them. And it's just like the crying. If you're, men automatically know that they're gonna jump to your aid. Most men will jump to your aid, or at least like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Because you're a woman, you're the fair sex. If you're crying, there must be something wrong. What happened? And it's natural. That's the thing about it. It's natural. That is natural. And Black women have just forgotten about that. It wasn't always this way for us, right? It wasn't always this way. It's like we have forgotten about that, even though it's very, very natural as a woman. So I just hope that channels like this and other channels who encourage not just hypergamy but femininity. I hope there are a lot of more Black women catching on and sort of buying into it because it's just beneficial, especially if you've spent your life doing the majority of the work and supporting the family, being the breadwinner and all of that, or just it works. It's nice to have someone do something for you and take care of you. It's nice to have someone respond to your tears or whenever you're upset rather than ignore you. I mean, I'm telling it like it is. someone who caters to you, someone who pacifies you. It's okay, that's okay, don't, you know, it's all right. That's what it's like, someone pacifies you. Oh, don't cry, please don't cry. And that's what it's like, you guys. And it's like, we don't understand the power of that. I mean, not to weaponize it as these Karens do, that is something completely different, but to use it in a way that is powerful as women, as feminine women. Again, as women, that type of thing is expected of us. It really is. You know, you're at the car dealership or you're getting your car. Let me tell you something. Let me show you something. Let me tell you something. What was it? And I saw this with my own eyes. This was a girl, this was a Black girl. She was paying for her car. I was just getting an oil change, right? She was paying for her car repairs. And I don't know, something happened. It was more than they quoted her. And she was like, cute girl too, cute young girl too. And she was like really upset. Well, you know, I didn't anticipate this. You said it was this, and you know, now it's like $200 more. I don't have the money to pay for this. This white man behind her paid for her whole bill. I saw this with my own eyes. And I'm saying, go ahead, girl, go. I saw this with my own eyes. He paid for her whole car repair. And she was like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. He said, sure, you would be amazed at what you can do. People hear things like that, and you guys, I swear to you, I saw this with my own eyes. This was a few years ago. I'm like, I saw this with my own eyes. That man paid for her entire repair. Now imagine if she had gotten loud and angry and like been aggressive. Well, you know, I'm not paying that. You said it was this, is that, you was $200 more. Like, I'm not paying that. I don't, you know what I mean? Imagine if that had been her response. Do you think he would have done the same thing? Imagine if she had been like, you know, just aggressive and super angry. That girl played the damsel in distress. And actually, she really was given a situation and she got rewarded for it. I saw this, y'all, with my own eyes. This was in front of me. There was this man, it was me. And I'm like, well played, well played. So you guys, the important thing is, yes, the thing is not to be embarrassed by it. A lot of people are like, we're afraid to ask for help, or we don't, you know what I mean? They say Black women don't need help, but when do we ever ask for help? Think about it. When do we ever ask for help? Oh, it's always me in a lash. And asking for help, again, that's a very feminine characteristic. That's a very female thing to do. Again, men expect that of us. Really, they really do. Really, it's like men, you would be, you know, you men expect that of us. They truly do. If you're in a situation like that and you started crying and everything like that, they would respond to you. But I think just a lot of women, a lot of Black women, the immediate response is to get mad, is to get angry. That is all, so many of us, that's always the response, is to get angry. We don't have that, a lot of us don't have that softness. So I hope, like, there's, a lot of us needs to just take a moment and say, okay, how am I going to handle this? I'm not going to get angry. I'm going to get upset and, play the damsel in distress and like, oh my gosh, I don't know, I can't pay for this like that girl did. I don't have enough. I can't afford this. And she was like just really upset, but not in an angry manner or not something like that. She wasn't. She was just in distress. She was just plain, she was vulnerable is what she was. She was very vulnerable. And that is attractive to men. Men respond to that. Whether they know you or not, their men respond to a person who can be vulnerable, a woman who can be vulnerable. Because vulnerable means soft, right? Hey, ISX, what's going on? Yeah, we're talking about like playing up our femininity and playing the damsels in distress, which Black women do not do. We're saying that, the Karens also, I mean, they are, disgusting, racist, horrible people. But what we can learn from them is the tears, the ability to be vulnerable, and the playing the feminine card, because ultimately that's what it is, the feminine card. That is what women do. Women cry. No one, she was crying, nobody, like, oh my, that is something women are expected to do. That's what if that is what women are supposed to do, if you think about it. And that was something like in the workplace that, why there was women liberation and all that we were considered, oh, women. Oh, thank you. Thank you. If you think about it, like back in the day in the workplace, and even now, women were considered softer and she can't handle it. She's not strong enough to handle this. It's just things like that. And we have fallen off when it comes to women. Black women have fallen off when it comes to our femininity and our ability to ask for help and all of that. Because as I was saying earlier, it didn't used to be this way. It wasn't always this way. The strong Black woman and all of that. It wasn't always this way, you guys. Lolita, hello, hello. You guys are rolling in here. So you guys tell me, do you guys examples, like I showed a couple examples of, not, I don't believe in weaponizing tears. That's what's happening with the Karens, but in using that to gain advantage, playing helpless, being helpless, and like I said, vulnerable, and oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do, and not me, and that doesn't happen to me, and that sort of thing. Have you guys ever done that? Do you ever do that? Because I have, and it works. That's why the Karens ultimately do it, because it works. So is this something like has ever been a part of sort of your repertoire, or is this something new to you? Is this something that you've never considered? Because Michelle needs to be our best. Yeah. But the strong stuff needs to be in the background rather than at the forefront. And I think that's our reaction to certain situations is to get mad and go off. because that's kind of the byproduct of the strong woman. Well, strong woman, she stands up for herself. She doesn't take any stuff off anybody, right? That's the hallmark of a strong Black woman. I wish you would. That kind of, you know what I mean? That is the attitude. We are ready to, go into combat and fight. I have to admit that I struggle with this once upon a time. Oh yeah. But you know what? You live and you learn. And when you know better, you do better. What is the saying? Like, what is that saying? You can get more with honey than you can with vinegar or something like that. But you guys get what I mean. You can get more with being sweet than you can with being bitter and sour, ultimately. I mean, think about like, even anything in like customer service, like that's another thing. You call and you're nice to them. You're nice to them. That goes a long way in getting them to expedite. I had my phone replaced. And the girl, I was talking to her, whatever, telling the issues I'm having, and she replaced it and everything. She's like, and I'm like, well, thank you for being so nice. And I was, I wasn't upset, but I was like just a little frustrated. I'm like, this is like the third time I called. I've done all the, technical troubleshooting. So I'm really gonna need a replacement and all that. She's like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. And I'm like, well, thank you for your patience. She's like, no, you're very nice. You're nicer than most people that I speak to. And I'm like, oh, that's great. So this was Tuesday, and she said, well, I'm going to send it out to you. It'll be there within 2 to 3 business days. And I'm like, thank you so much. I mean, just really nice. And you know what? It was Wednesday. It was yesterday. No, it was Tuesday, right? This was Tuesday. Boom, I got it yesterday. Like she sent it overnight. Instead of 2 to 3 business days, she sent it overnight. Now, you may think that sounds like a small thing, but it's just one more example how being pleasant gets you ahead. By being pleasant, being feminine, being nice. It works with women, it even works with women. People like, nobody wants to be yelled at. I would anyway, but that's good. That's good. And it's important to look the part as well. And don't go out in your bonnet and your house shoes expecting that bitch to work for you. I mean, nothing is impossible, of course. It could, depending, but it is much, 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 much less likely that you will not be nearly as successful, because unfortunately, people look at you, and how you show up in the world is how people perceive you. Perception is reality. So you're not going to be perceived as a soft, feminine, vulnerable woman, especially with the stereotypes of Black women. Anyway, you have to be the exception, unfortunately, because the strong Black woman has become the rule. You guys know what I mean? It's like you have to be the exception. And you will stand out. That will make you stand out. I had a best dry amount of out of my bed, and that would be 5 50 by the time I was done. Yep, it went down to 400. Yep. Yep. I just had my carpets cleaned, right? About a couple weeks ago, because I'm not remodeling, like I'm redecorating my master bedroom and all upstairs. I just had my carpets cleaned, right? They quoted me this, whatever. They came in, did the carpet cleaning, and he said, you know what? I have area rugs. He said, I'm not even going to charge you for the area rugs. I'm like, that's so nice. And when they came in, I'm like, would you like some coffee? Would you like some water? And they said, sure. I gave them each bottles of water, my Aquafina, and that was it. They did their things, and they said, well, they came downstairs to do the area rugs and say, tell you what, we're not even going to charge you to clean the area rugs. It works, you guys. It really works. And you think these are little things, but this is how you get your practice, right? This is how you get your practice. DWA Consulting, you know what I mean. That's $150 savings, $150 in your pocket. And he didn't have to do it. It was cause he thought maybe thought you were pretty, he thought you were nice. That's all it takes for men. Men are easy. They really are simple. It's all it takes for them to think you're pretty, think you're nice. My pest control guy brings me wine. He brings me wine. I don't mean to brag, you guys, but I'm telling you, I'm just telling you my experiences. That's all. I mean, that's the thing about it. That's $150 in your pocket, girl. Social grace has been in personal, and I use more complication and in more ask for help. Yeah. See, when it comes to work situations, I would rather ask questions than do, because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to that stuff. And I'm like, I will ask you questions than to do it wrong. Because like once I got it, okay, I got it. But I don't hesitate to ask a question. And that, again, that's another thing we need to stop. You don't know anything, and it's okay not to know something. That's a show of vulnerability, right? That's vulnerable. I don't know this. Can you help me? You think about it, can you help me? And they're like, sure. That's a softness. That's letting your guard down. Yeah, I love wearing dresses. I have so many dresses. I mean, these are my little tracks. So I had to work out today that, I thought I was going to throw up, you guys. I was like, Lord, let me get it together for this live. My hair is still wet, but I worked out for like an hour and a half. I was like, my legs are sore, but it was good. Yeah, I love dresses. And they're on. You just put them on. You guys think about it. You don't have to coordinate the top and the bottom. And just throw on a dress and that's it. That's another thing. They're easy. They're pretty. They're feminine and they're easy. Just throw on a dress. That's it. You got one piece, put it on, you're done. About something classic yoga, asked me if I was Barry and I told him I'm making Bill wife. And he texted me a couple times. Okay. That's it. But that's all it takes. That's all it takes. I would make a good wife for someone, okay? And that's it. That's what you have to do. And that's it. You weren't interested in him, obviously, and that's fine. You didn't feel obligated to text him. I don't believe so. He texted you a couple times. I don't know if are you guys still texting? And that's it. You just accepted the kindness, said thank you, and that was it. That's what I do. Thank you, and that's it. You don't have to reciprocate. That's it. And that's how you've got to be. You don't have to feel that you have to reciprocate. Black women, we need to accept kindness. We have to, we don't know how to accept without feeling that, what was his angle? What you want something back or that, we have to do something, whatever. No, you don't. You don't. That's okay. That's on him. That's on him. It's not like you mess around with a married man. You take your keep your $150 in your bank and go on about your business. That's on him. That's on him. Take your money, go on about your business. I think that man is there, yeah. An interpersonal used to be more complicated. Yeah. And I think that it's something that, I'm not going to lie, I've had to work on, although I am feminine, I'm not going to lie, I've had to work on the confrontational part too over the years too, because part of it is that, like, I'm not afraid to be confrontational, and because I'm not, and it's not like my go-to, but if it goes there, I'm like, hey, but that's not the best way to handle things. I've learned that. I knew that, but it's like you kind of sometimes you just get off track and you just get a situation and then you have to learn. You're like, okay, this is not, I know better than this. This is not working for me. being sweet, being nice, being accommodating, not letting people run over you, but being accommodating and just being nice works much better. Everybody's human, so nobody's perfect. We've all had our shortcomings. Some of us, we all fall short sometimes. It's not always automatic. Sometimes you have to sort of catch yourself. That's why you have to catch yourself. But in the end, you got to ultimately remember, what is the goal? Is it going to serve me better to get mad and cuss this guy out, or cuss this woman out, or get loud? Or is it going to serve me better to handle this in a more genteel way? And that's what it is. And even if it doesn't, even if you don't get your particular way that time, if it doesn't work that time, you know what? It's good practice, right? It's good practice. So, certainly I've never done this falling out on the floor type of thing. But that some of those Karens are just off the wall. That's okay. That's okay. It's weird. I used to have Wi-Fi buffering problems too. But now it's all good. I don't know what causes it. But yeah, you guys, it's me. I don't think I want to, I think we're good on this video. I don't think it's, we have to belabor this one. But I just think, we should be reminded of our feminine power. We have it too. We just need to use it. A lot of Black women say, well, they see me as this way or that way, or I have to be hard, whatever. No, you don't. We have it too. We need to do it too. We need to use our feminine wiles and our womanly, what is expected of us as women. And it doesn't matter how people see you. It's how you see yourself. But go out looking the part, guys. And I don't mean you have to have a face full of makeup, but go out looking good, looking presentable. It helps. Yeah, really mean. Okay, well, feminine clothes and time to wear appropriate on your gowns too. Yeah, things like that matter. But a lot of people didn't have that. A lot of people didn't have that growing up. I have to get up my acting skill. Well, Denny, how do you approach things anyway? You say you have to do your acting skills, which means that this is not something that is natural for you. How do you approach things like that? If this is not what you do, how do you approach things? Because this is something that's a problem. This is something that should be natural. It really is. This is like very feminine. This is something that women have always done, not just white women, Black women. This is something that we've always done as women. It's reasonable, it's customary, it's what's expected of us. You can call it sexist, but you know what? Sexism works. And men sort of expect this of us. It's a very masculine reaction to want to help a woman. That's just normal. That's just the way of the world. That's just natural. There is a difference between men and women, and that is one of them. You know what I mean? Like that is one of them. That's just not it. Yeah. And the thing is, the sad part is punching her in the face. And I understand them wanting to do it now. They're not wrong for wanting to do it. That's the thing about it. Let's make that clear. They're not wrong that you have to hold yourself back when somebody acts a fool and does all that to you. They're not wrong now. You can't say that they're wrong. But it's like the fact that she restrained herself was, I'm so glad she did that, because it would not have served her at all to get into it with this woman. And, you know, it wouldn't, because people came over to this woman's aid, blah, blah, and not to the Black woman's aid. So for her to get in the trenches in the gutter with this woman, she probably would have been arrested. And she's smart enough to know that. She's smart enough to know that and just record whatever. That's it. She was smart enough to know that. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I knew, you know, she wanted to beat the hell out of that woman, but she didn't. She restrained herself and exposed this woman. And that's the type of thing we have to do. You know, she was mad. She was furious. I saw someone find it. Yeah. Yeah. But see, all the women saying they would have punched her in the face would have ended up in jail. And that mindset is exactly what the problem is with us. And again, that's a natural reaction too. When someone, you know, does something like that. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say that's not a natural reaction. Of course, you want to do that. You know, when somebody is aggressive towards you, someone is assaulting you, trying to humiliate you, and then acting, you know, crying and acting as if you have done something to them. It's infuriating. You know, and I'm sure it was very hurtful to her, but she kept her cool and she recorded it. That's how you do that. She kept her cool. And that's something we need to learn, you know, to keep our cool. Right. LOR, some hashtag, I'm not. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, you know what we need to do? We need to see some crying peaches. Now we need to see some. We need to see some. You know, we need to see some, because we don't see Black women acting and in that type of manner. Again, it's a very feminine way to behave. You can call it what you want, but it's a feminine way to behave. So y'all, I'm gonna have to drop off here. Thank you so much for joining another wonderful live stream. I will see you guys next week. If there's a topic you guys you want me to discuss, hit me up in my email me, okay? You guys have my Pretty and Things 5. Just hit me up. If there's a topic you want me to, I'm excited here. Hit me up. Because there's a lot of things, you know, if you guys can bring your things 5. If you know that, Jack. Let me send it to you. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and hit me up, you guys. If there's a topic, suggest some topics. You know, I'm always open to content suggestions. So once again, you guys, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Another amazing live. Like I said, this has become my favorite thing now. This has become my absolute favorite thing. Have a great evening to you as well. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Wear your mask, honey. Wear your mask. It's not over yet. Wear your mask, ladies. Wear it. I have my second shot tomorrow, but I still haven't stopped wearing my mask. So I love you guys. Mwah. Thank you for joining. I will see you next week. Good evening. Bye, guys.